Hi, my name is Rachel Rolinski. I'm a second-year medical student at the University of Chicago, Pritzker School of Medicine, and today I will be talking about my project entitled Trajectory of Olfactory Decline Predicts Incidence of Cognitive Impairment and Dementia in Cognitively Normal Adults. Alzheimer's dementia is a neurodegenerative disease with no cure, and this is a public health crisis because it is expected that by 2060, over 14 million people over the age of 65 will have AD. We need better ways to predict who will develop AD so that we can better counsel patients and families, provide earlier interventions and treatments, and enroll patients in clinical trials. Previous literature has shown that baseline olfactory dysfunction predicts cognitive decline and conversion from normal cognition to mild cognitive impairment and AD. However, it's unclear whether longitudinal olfactory decline can predict dementia. And so it was our question of our study whether olfactory decline over time can predict dementia. And we hypothesized that older adults with olfactory decline are more likely to develop cognitive impairment and dementia compared to older adults with no change in olfaction. We included 515 participants over the age of 65 recruited from retirement communities across Chicagoland and northeastern Illinois as part of the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center Memory and Aging Project, which is a longitudinal cohort study with annual clinical evaluation, olfactory testing, and cognitive testing. Our olfactory testing was completed using the 12-item brief smell identification test, which is a well-validated, highly replicable test that takes only 5 minutes to complete. Cognitive testing was completed using a battery of 19 cognitive tests with their scores averaged and z-scored to create a global cognition score, as well as being subdivided into 5 cognitive domain-specific scores. In accordance with national criteria, comprehensive diagnosis of normal cognition, MCI, or dementia was given. Below, you can see our study design where our independent measure was repeated olfactory testing over at least 3 time points, and our outcome measure was final cognitive testing and dementia diagnosis. In the top left graph, you can see longitudinal changes in raw olfactory test scores for 10 randomly sampled participants. As you can see, changes in olfaction were complex and diverse across participants. Therefore, we created a simplified individualized metric to measure olfactory changes over time by calculating rate of olfactory decline. This was calculated from individualized linear regressions of olfactory test scores and age at all time points to yield a slope, shown for 4 participants in the top right graph. At baseline, the mean age of our participants was 76 and 85 at time of cognitive outcomes. These were well-educated, majority white women with normal olfaction and cognition at baseline. The median number of olfactory tests completed was 5 over a 7.5-year period, and we also looked at ApoE4 genotype because this is a well-known risk factor for AD. We performed a logistic regression to test our hypothesis whether rate of olfactory decline predicts incident MCI or dementia, and found that faster olfactory decline indicates a 1.9 times higher odds of MCI or dementia compared to those with no olfactory decline. And this was significant when controlling for known risk factors of AD. Of note, our rate of olfactory decline measure had a higher odds ratio, shown here, than looking at baseline olfactory dysfunction, and a similar odds ratio to ApoE4 genotype, which again is the strongest known risk factor to date for AD. In linear regression analysis shown below, faster olfactory decline predicted impaired global cognition, episodic memory, and perceptual speed, supporting that the link between olfaction and cognition is mediated through a medial temporal anatomical process. To conclude, we found that faster olfactory decline strongly predicts subsequent MCI and dementia in cognitively normal adults and predicts global and domain-specific cognitive impairment. For the first time, we introduced an individualized monitoring of olfactory decline over time using a 5-minute odor identification test that adds predictive value beyond just looking at baseline olfactory dysfunction. In the future, we hope to associate our rate of olfactory decline measure with other biological correlates of AD and it is our ultimate goal that one day olfaction will be tracked in the electronic medical record as a biomarker for AD and other age-related outcomes. Thank you.